What comes after 8? It's 12.
264.
You must be a goddamn genius. You must have a goddamn IQ of
You a
160.
goddamn genius.
Use has fine brain cells.
Wait, can I curse?
Yeah, of course. Hey guys, welcome.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. With me I have the great, the lovely.
My name's Ari.
With an IQ
My
of
name Jeff.
My name Jeff with an IQ of 300.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Thing is, I wanted to bring this girl along for this episode because recently in our lives, considering I'm in my first year of college with a huge shift in life, and she's in her last year of high school with college apps and jobs and all that crap, there's a lot of work that stacks up.
Yeah.
So, keeping that in mind, what is the one thing that has been killing me since day one? I will not ever do my work is the problem. And
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, that's pretty much the gist. So I guess from your point of view, how would I just wanted to start us off with that because the reason I wanted to bring this girl along is because she has a very different viewpoint from me when it comes to like procrastination or just when it comes to getting work done. In fact, complete opposite viewpoint, you know? So just if you want to start us off with just whatever.
Okay, so from what I've learned in the almost year amount of time that we've spent with updating each other on our lives pretty much every day, also known as a relationship. If you didn't know already, we're dating. Hi. So this is my boyfriend. So
Hi.
we update each other a lot on like what's going on in our daily lives, whether that's like how much time we spend on homework or, you know, whatever's going on, papers and things like that. And I've learned that yes, we have very different workflows in that I've just trained myself to be very, very on top of things because if I don't do that, then a lot of it falls apart. So I have to break up my work into small amounts. I can't do things in giant spurts because I've learned that leads to mental breakdowns.
That's fair.
So, like, and I'm not even lying. Like, I can't do it because when it's too much work in one spot, I just start telling myself that I can't do it. So I've learned it's better to break things up into small chunks and go day by day. And
Right.
that makes my life a lot easier. And it makes it so that my like time spent working on schoolwork and other things and like important stuff is allocated more like in a more healthy way. So it's like, you know, I spend this much time on schoolwork when I get home and then I spend this much time, you know, playing music and just, you know, relaxing and things like that. So
Yeah,
I
you
feel like
kinda,
it's
mentally schedule yourself.
yeah, it spreads my free time out a lot better than it would be if I was just goofing off every single day and then at the last second I was like, oh you know, so
Right. So, that is actually kind of the way I have been doing my work, which sounds a bit weird, but
it works for him. It works for him somehow.
It works for me. And I will say the origin point of why I have a procrastination problem, because if you guys didn't know, I don't think I've actually concretely said this to you guys, I have a huge procrastination problem. And I will say the origin story for this, which is as simple as in school, you have homework in school, and the school setting is so designed for school. It's so easy for any student to get in the workflow of doing work when you're in school because you have teachers looking over you, expecting you to do work. You have a whole classroom of people who are all expected to do work. Why would you want to be the one weirdo? You have all of these different factors, literally like books surrounding you, literally like everything right at your hands. Like you don't even have an excuse to procrastinate when like everything's right there. So it's like everything at school pushes you to do work, and all the rules, all the bells, all the teachers, they're all push you to do work. So when I get home after doing that, I don't feel the need to do the work because in school, I've like, you know, I am so motivated in school that like at home, I'm like, okay, well, that's the hard school time. Now is the hard home time, you know?
Yeah.
When
That's
that became a problem is the fact that homework exists.
that's
Yeah.
I just want to interject really quick. That's actually becoming a problem for me. It started. I don't think I've talked about it too much with you, but I realized that started becoming a problem for me too when I would come home and like spend like an hour on my phone before I would actually get to my homework, and then in between my homework I would be spending 20 minutes on my phone for every 5 minutes of work that I've done. And I thought at first it was just like my phone, but I realized that it wasn't just my phone, because like if I threw my phone across the room and didn't touch it for hours, I would still find other things when I'm home to distract myself. So like now that's becoming a problem for me, where when I'm at home I don't really think too much about school, and I would rather just like do other things like play my guitar and stuff. But when I'm at school, I'm super productive, like you said, because you're just expected to be productive, and you can't really do much else besides, be productive.
And I mean, like, you can tell that, like, the school system's, like, completely designed for that. Like,
Oh
this
yeah.
is a rant for another time. A completely rant for another time. But just to set the stage, the American schooling system is very weird. It's based off of this assembly line mindset where, if you know the assembly line, the conveyor belt of the product and the workers spread across the conveyor belt doing one thing, it's very mindless labor in a sense, right? So the thing is, the schooling system with the whole bell that designates everyone where to go, the all the people just being ordered what to do, turn to this page, stand up, sit down, go over here. It all has that assembly line mindset, But that's not how the adult world is today. The adult world rewards innovators, and it rewards the people who stand out. But the school system hasn't evolved to complement this, and it's still very like education intensive, and like or just very like it doesn't
It's
it
very
doesn't really
archaic.
it doesn't really provide the genuine learning that it could, is all I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. But but it's like the only place that like we have to go to, literally legally required to go to every single day. So, it pushes us to do that. But yeah, when homework becomes a thing, at home I will just wait until the last possible day to do it. And because of that mindset. But because of how many times I've had to just wait until the last possible moment to do something, because if I ever think about doing homework before the last day, then I say, literally, like, why would I do that right now if I'm already on my computer and I could do it later? That's as far as the thought route gets, and then I just keep doing what I'm doing. But when it's the last day, then it's like, well, now I have a reason to do it, because if I don't, then I get a bad grade.
Yeah.
But because of how many times I've had to do it, I've become good at working under pressure. Uh, Now, that could be considered a strength. I'm happy to tell my boss when I'm applying for a job that I'm good at working under pressure, but it's not a good work ethic.
No, it's not for the most part, if I'm being
Right.
honest.
It's not the
It's
ideal work ethic.
No, it's not ideal, but you can work with it, I would argue. I would argue that for most people it's that's kind of what they start off with, and they can build off of it.
Yeah, it's because the thing about procrastination, and I think this is the most frustrating part of the whole of procrastination, is that it is completely a mental thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It is all mental. It is all because the thing is, you are always motivated. Okay, here's the thing with my teacher. My psychology teacher, he created this thing called Skull and Crossbones Day. And what Skull and Crossbones Day is basically our assignment was due on the midnight of the 23rd, right? So he's told us that if we submit the paper at any time on the 23rd, he called the 23rd Skull and Crossbones Day. And that wouldn't mean anything. Like he would still give us the grade, but he would write our name down saying that, hey, this kid is one of those like procrastinators.
Oh jeez.
So we still get the exact same grade because the due date's the 23rd. But just in keeping that in mind, I turned it in on the 22nd because in my mind I pinned the midnight of the 22nd as the deadline.
Gotcha.
Literally nothing changed except for that, except for the mindset. That's literally it.
Yeah.
Skull and Crossbones Day. It actually really helped. My teacher's a psychology teacher, and he has a massive knowledge of just kids and how they work, and just people and how they work. That's why he created Skull and Crossbones Day, and it helped. God, it helped. Because that's all I needed for me to just... Because I did all of my work on the 21st and 22nd, and turned it in on the 22nd, and perfectly well done. So
Good. Yeah, that's good.
But it's all mental, and that's the thing about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, it really is mental, and that's the bigger problem that it comes down to with education is it's not something you can it's not something you can physically master, which I think is it's easier for kids to understand something if it's like physical, like, you know, oh, this is what I'm doing today, you know, like I gotta go take a run today or something along those lines. I think when it comes down to like the way your own brain works, it's hard to, you know, it's hard to defeat your own brain or rewire it. That's so much harder to do than strengthening your body, I think, in a lot of ways for people. For others it isn't, but for a lot of people it's definitely harder to think about things in different ways and change the way your like habits work rather than doing, you know, maybe like changing something on your body, like say working out or something along those lines. So
right, because it's like the thing is, it's hard to change a mindset when you have to commit your mind to it. It's hard to like, yeah, it's like your brain is the one doing. And I remember saying this out loud one time when I was frustrated about my job situation, which I will get to in a bit. But I remember being frustrated about that, and I said out loud, how am I supposed to change my brain when my brain is supposed to be the one changing my brain? Like, nothing's going to happen. And I just got a paradox, and the black hole appeared. It sucked.
It's like, if you think about this is off on a tangent a little bit, but one of the things that I've always heard that would make computers, like AI, superior to humans if like it was to be created was that AI can instantaneously change if it's intelligent and self modifying enough, then it will be able to just automatically change the way it thinks about certain things and change the way its algorithms work, whereas with the human brain we have no way of like directly changing that. We have to change it over a course of months and even years, just working on, you know, just doing the same things over and over to change our brain rather than just physically saying, okay, I'll think about this different now and automatically rewiring it.
Right. If you don't mind, I want to talk about this one particular TED Talk. Mm-hmm. If you don't mind me describing it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And if you want to like jump in at any point, you can. But basically, there's this one TED Talk that I watched called "Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator." I think his name was Tim Urban. I showed this to Ari, and I'll put a link as well if you guys want to see. It's amazing.
It's so funny. It's so good.
It's funny, but it creates this analogy that makes it surprisingly easy to understand how procrastination works. I'll skip the details of how. Yeah.
It's like psychology for dummies.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Really is.
It's really good.
Pretty much it's psychology for dummies from a dummy. No.
Yeah.
Like, I'll skip the details about like how much of a procrastinator he is. It's effectively along the lines of there's a paper that he's supposed to write over the course of half of a year and or a course of a whole semester, but he keeps procrastinating, so his workload looks higher and higher and higher with less and less time until he literally just does the whole thing in 3 days and doesn't sleep. And you're not supposed to skip 2 nights of sleep. I don't think I've ever done that, and I barely sleep. I don't think I've ever just had 2 all-nighters in a row.
You're really not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. I don't think I've ever done that. So, yeah, but the thing is, he described how the brain of a normal person works is a person inside the brain with hands at the wheel. But he described the brain of a procrastinator as someone with hands on the wheel with what he called a self-gratification monkey on the side. And this self-gratification... So the person working normally will work normally on the wheel, but the procrastinator this self-gratification monkey will jump on the wheel, push the guy away, and start driving because while in the middle of doing your work, you'll randomly just go on Google Maps and then just start, like, looking from one end of Italy to the other end of Italy just to get a really good feel for how big Italy is. And do, I'll just, like, start putting in, like, how much is $1 American in this currency.
Oh my god.
Or like looking up like colleges and then whoa, that's a really cool thing this college has. What was that? What was that from again? And then you go from that to that to that to that to that. And I remember I eventually was on
Looking up
Benedict
the Wikipedia.
Cumberbatch. I eventually was just on a Benedict Cumberbatch. I was writing an English essay, and within 10 minutes, I was on this Benedict Cumberbatch on the Graham Norton show, and I completely forgot what it was even about, which tells you it wasn't that important.
Weren't you also looking up Wikipedia pages of like random celebrities at one point? I texted you and I was like, "Are you working on your paper?" And he's like, "No, I'm looking up celebrity Wikipedia pages." And I'm like, "Why are you doing that?" In all caps, I said that. And he was like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Go back to writing your paper." And he's like, "No, I gotta finish looking at this Wikipedia page." And
Yeah, there was actually one time where I said, like, let me just finish what I'm doing for like 5 more minutes, please. I'm just on a roll. I want to do this for 5 more minutes, and then I'll promise I'll do it. And she actually texted me, "Are you actually going to? Or are you just bullshitting me?" And I did it. I did it eventually. I'm just like, ah.
Okay, good. Good.
But yeah, the self-gratification monkey will get the control of the reins really easily because it gets instantly gratified by what it is, and it knows that it doesn't have any concept of the fact that it should do the less fun, more important work first. It has no concept of that. The only thing that will push this instant gratification monkey, did I call it self-gratification? Instant gratification monkey. Yeah. The only thing that'll push the instant gratification monkey off the wheel is what is called the panic monster.
Wait. Can I interject and say one thing? I remember the reason in the TED Talk why he called it the instant gratification monkey is it's essentially if you actually want to break it down and like look at the psychology behind it, the instant gratification monkey represents like primal instincts. So like the instincts we have from literally being monkeys, right, based on evolution. And that, back when we were in the wild, obviously we didn't have to write, English papers and things like that. We didn't have to spend long amounts of...
It was a better time.
Oh my God, no, it was not. We'd never had to spend, obviously, long amounts of time on, like, large, arduous projects. It was always just, how can I live through this day? Where am I going to sleep tonight? Where can I find food? And you're just doing everything instantaneously and never really thinking about the future. You're just surviving. But now we're in a new point, obviously, where we're thinking about more than just surviving. We're thinking about thriving and
For
what
the first
we can
time, I'm
do.
thinking past tomorrow. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what the monkey represents. It literally represents like primal instant instinct. Yeah, exactly.
The only thing that will push that away is the panic monster, which is represented by
anxiety.
What he called a deadlines. Deadlines are something that forces the monkey off. He's terrified of the panic monster, and you'll be able to get control of the wheel again, because deadlines are something that the instant gratification monkey is scared of, that makes you go, finally, I have a need to do this.
The deadline is what wakes up the panic monster. It wakes him up, and then he goes and fucking drives the monkey away.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Literally just
But then he reached when you use this analogy, you make this really amazing epiphany that he never realized until he made this analogy. I never realized until I heard about this analogy, which is that the panic monster will never wake up if there isn't a deadline, like an abusive relationship, an abusive household. Those situations...
Wanting to move.
Yes. Those situations don't have deadlines. They need to be... You need to do something about them, but they don't have a deadline. And because you are surviving... I'm using the word surviving, keeping in mind the primal instincts thing that Ari just said. Because you are surviving as you are right now, you don't have any really strong motivation to change things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't have any, like, pushing factor.
Yeah, because as a primal animal, you're surviving.
In your mind, it's easier in the moment to just stay where you are. But in the long run, it's more beneficial.
The monkey who has control doesn't have any concept of that, right?
Exactly.
So, as we just said, yeah, I said an abusive relationship, an abusive household. You said moving out. But then I want to say the big one, for me, right now, getting a job. Now, why is this difficult for me? It's because of pretty much everything we just said. And I don't have any pushing factor because right now I live alone with my mom right now. My mom makes a pretty good amount of money as she is, and we are only a family of two, so that money only gets used up by the two of us. And Ari, she's well aware that, yes, if I stay under my mom's wing in here, then yes, I will be financially stable, quote unquote. Yeah. I don't have any pushing factor that makes me go, oh my god, if I don't get a job, there are consequences.
No, you can just stay where you are if you want to.
Now, that's there are consequences in a sense, but none of them wake up the panic monster. The consequences are things like people being disappointed, you know?
Like, but it's not that's not like a solid extrinsic pressure, because that's what deadlines essentially are extrinsic pressure that causes anxiety.
Yes, that's the big thing.
It's not a solid like deadline.
Because the problem is procrastinators do not have intrinsic motivation.
Yep.
And if you didn't catch what that means, intrinsic means self-motivated. I want to do this because I want to do it, versus extrinsic motivation. I want to do it because there's a reward outside of my own self-satisfaction.
I'll do it because someone else is making me do it, or I'll do it because someone else wants me to do it.
Or I'll do it because there's a reward outside of self-satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, procrastinators do not have intrinsic motivation. Now, here's the thing. You, madame, you have a lot.
Yeah.
You have here's one of the two differences I want to bring up between you and me. Mm-hmm. You have intrinsic motivation because I already wrote out the other difference between us, which I'll say in a bit, but you have intrinsic motivation because you have high awareness and priority to your individual self-happiness and your individual self-care.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, well...
Because, again, just being with you for about 11 months now, right?
Yeah.
Yay! Being with you for about 11 months now, and even before that, I will see a lot of situations where you will prioritize more abstract things over more concrete things. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
You'll prioritize more, less concrete, less tangible things over more concrete, more tangible things. You have intrinsic motivation because I've seen you over the course of many months being with you prioritizing less tangible, less concrete things over more tangible, more concrete things. Do you get what I mean by that?
Yes. Yeah.
And the purpose of that, as far as I see, is because you have a high awareness and priority of your own self-care and self-satisfaction.
Yeah, it's not just that, it's also like so Yusuf and I come from two very different situations. And that comes down to a lot to like not just class, but like a couple different things, but it has a lot to do with class. I'm definitely a middle income person. My family have kind of blue collar backgrounds. So, I live in a very wealthy area, but I don't necessarily fit in with that construct. Whereas Yusuf and his mom are fairly well off in that his mom has a doctorate and she is an amazing, intelligent woman and makes a large amount of money. So
I was actually going to bring that up as the second other reason that we're different, because I thought it wasn't like related to this reason, but I see you're bringing that up now, so I'm interested.
Okay. You want me to go on?
Go on.
Okay, so the way that this relates to me anyway is that I was told from a very young age that if I wanted, because I could have been like, say other kids in my family who, not like siblings of mine, but say like my cousins, who didn't really know what they want to do and still don't really know. And they, they're in college right now and they don't really know what they're doing. They're just kind of hanging out, and that's okay. But, if I had been like that, I don't think I would have had as much pressure in my life or put as much pressure on myself. But from the very first time someone asked me what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be, I knew immediately that I wanted to be a vet, and I've wanted that since I was like 2 years old, not even, maybe 3. So the way that's bled into my work schedule is that I put myself under a lot of pressure to do kind of hard classes, because to be a vet, you have to be in the top 10% of your class. It's very competitive getting into vet college and graduating. So having like my parents tell me that, because they knew also from a young age, this is how it relates to classes, they knew that if I wanted to be a vet, it was going to be kind of hard, because 8 years of college is not easy to pay for, especially if you come from kind of a middle class family, who, they can't pay for all my college education. So they knew and I knew from a young age that I was going to have to work really hard to save money, and not just save money, but to get into vet school in the first place, because I can't just pay my way there. I have to work my way there. And I think that's somewhat of a big difference between us, is I've just learned that I need to work my way through things rather than putting them off and saying like I can just pay it off instantly at some point. I can't do that. I have to work my way through it, and wanting to be a vet this badly has just led to me I'll just like anything that someone tells me I have to do to be a vet, I'll do it. If my parents tell me I have to take a couple AP classes, I do it. If someone tells me that I need to volunteer, I do it. It's just automatic. And even if I decide some things for myself, like this would make me look better to a college, I'll do it, because it's all pointed towards what I want my career path to be.
Yeah. This was actually kind of like the second of two things that I wanted to bring up regarding how we're different when it comes to this. Yeah, because of that mindset, what you secure ever since you were like 2 or 3, what you've secured is a very concrete path forward. What your path forward is. So even if there is uncertainty as to whether or not as to how many bumps in the road there are, what road you are going on, and certainty is really good.
It's helpful, because it makes it so that I have a plan and I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. The only thing is one flaw that I think it has led to is I do have a hard time adapting in some ways. I don't have like I can adapt to different things, but it's hard for me to adjust sometimes. If I get a plan in my head, like I want to go to this college, and then suddenly something comes up and I can't, or like if I really wanted to go there and I can't because the tuition is too high or something like that. It's a little bit hard adjusting to if I've been planning on it for a long time. But it is good to have a plan. It helps to have a plan. I think what I need to learn personally is to adapt a bit more when that plan has to change.
And the interesting thing is, if we apply that directly to me, I know that it wouldn't work because of the mindset. Now, say for example, if I were to make a physical calendar or put physical reminders, right? Mm-hmm. The reason why this wouldn't work, and I know this is frustrating whenever I vent this to her, because it's all in the mind. It's like it must be torturous for her to try to think of a way to get around it when it's all in my mind. But the thing is, if I were to create physical calendar, physical reminders, and times to do stuff, it wouldn't work, because because then there's nothing stopping me from saying, okay, well, yeah, I could do it at 8 o'clock, but what's stopping me from doing it at 9 when it's due at 12?
Yeah.
Now, I get it done.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, you do.
I procrastinate, but I get it done. Because there's a panic monster that exists. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm very, very proud of myself on random situations that I'm ashamed to say I can't think of right now, where the panic monster has not come up and yet I'll do work. I'm very, very proud of myself for those times. And I'm ashamed to say I can't think of an example. But you get what I mean?
Hold on. I'm sure you have an example. You looked up colleges when I told you to.
I looked up, okay, so yeah,
that's extrinsic motivation, but whatever.
Yeah, that is extrinsic motivation, but well, that's interesting. The reason I started so I was later than most people to looking into colleges, but, and the big reason for that is, literally they give us this massive range of time for when you can look up colleges. Like this, month, like a huge span of time for us to look up colleges. So for us, it was like, yeah, I mean, like, I can just do it whenever I want, pretty much. But it was when I visited Ari for the first time in December of 2017. I visited her
Woo.
that Christmas, and when I was there, over just 6 days, I saw a lot of her work ethic. I had it really concrete in my mind that she knew what she wanted to be from this amount of time, and her life plan is just set and
Yeah.
mine is not. And her family is a hard-working family who
Oh
is all
yeah.
very stable, and you get my point. But I
Yeah.
have this, right? And then I come home and I'm on my computer and I feel guilty as hell, and I feel motivated because I see that you're how you are, how well it works, to the point where I will literally be on my computer for like 4 hours straight only doing work.
Yeah.
From no motivation other than just seeing firsthand how your workflow is.
Hmm.
So it's interesting.
It makes me happy to know that, because I think that as much as like people say that you should be similar to like people you're dating, I definitely think that having like opposite abilities works well, in the sense of like
Yeah.
your like your strengths should, I think it's very advantageous to have someone who their strengths like cover your weaknesses and your strengths cover their weaknesses, and you're able to kind of work as a unit because of that. So I think that it's good, because I feel like I hope that I've been able to help you feel a little bit more motivated when it comes to like different important like school things, and I feel like sometimes I'm able to keep you on track and, you know, remind you if like you're procrastinating, like just like, hey, just get back to work, you know, once you're done you can do whatever, just finish it first, you know.
Yeah.
And be that
Guys,
outside factor to remind you to do stuff. But I also think that you've helped me with learning to adapt to plans, and learning to just my my brother and my mom always say when I'm really, because I do get, I think I get a little bit more stressed than you do about workflow because of this, because I'm so like, what my brother and mom call it is, they say I'm always like white knuckling life, like I'm, you know, I have my hands fully wrapped around it and I'm squeezing super tight, and they say, you know, sometimes I just need to loosen my hands just a little bit, not let go, but you know, just loosen them up a little bit. And I think I have a hard time doing that. And I've learned a lot from Yusuf on how to just let it go a little bit, and like, you know, like the little things don't matter too much sometimes, and you know, I can just let it go. So I think we've both helped each other a lot with, in that aspect, with like how our workflows work, and you know, knowing when to let go and knowing when to like buckle down and focus.
Yeah, because the thing is, and there's a lot of times, because guys, even though this is a podcast about procrastination, I'm dating a massive workaholic. Okay. Here's the thing. She works a lot.
I do.
Um
I can agree with that one.
and there's on occasions like that December, I will admire this. On occasions like last month, I will be very, very against it. Do you mind if I describe a little bit?
Yeah, no, go ahead. You're fine. Yeah.
Do you want to describe it?
Well, no, I don't want to. You
Okay,
do it.
so
You
this
do
girl's a
it from your
workaholic.
perspective
She
on what
does
my
a
life was
lot
like
of.
during that moment.
Wait, what?
You describe from your perspective, just
Okay.
from your outside view, how I looked
Got it.
that whole
Okay.
month.
Okay. So I crushed an apple in my bare hand. No, I didn't. No. Out of sheer anger. No.
I mean, yeah,
I
that was
wish.
me, white knuckling life, trying
What? God
to kill
damn
it
it.
in my hands.
No, like, here's the thing. At a base level, she already takes a lot of AP classes and she works a lot of shifts at her job.
AP Bio, AP Lang life. Woo! No.
Yeah. So, like, you know, at a base level, she already does that. But outside of that, this girl also spends an I'll get to that one last. This girl also spends a lot of time doing extracurriculars. She always signs up for extra stuff. She also signs up for stuff outside of school. Like now you're doing like a part of the ski team, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not outside of school, but it's an extracurricular, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. It's related to school?
Yeah, it's a ski team. It's my school's ski team.
Oh, okay. I guess I just never knew that.
You didn't know.
California, Texas.
I didn't. It's okay. I didn't describe it that much, but yeah, I'm on my
assumed
school's
that it was like a
ski
city
team.
thing. I don't know. Anyways.
No.
Yeah, but like, okay, so she's part of that as well. She also has choir. Mm-hmm. So she also does choir, and then she also has singing lessons, and she also does performances.
Yep.
And there's also like choir concerts and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's, I think, 4 things in total already.
And then there's other stuff too. I do Rotary Club.
Yeah.
There's another club I do, and I'm forgetting it. I'm in our school's GSA, which is a Gender and Sexuality Alliances club. Yeah.
That's 6.
Lots of stuff.
Now here's the thing.
Work.
I have one of those. I have school. But here's the thing. The thing that I wanted to say for last is that we both have homework. But I spend half an hour on my homework for 2 reasons. One, because I do pretty much as much of my homework as I possibly have time for in school, because school is, I know, the only time where I will even care about it. And 2, because I'm good at working under pressure, I just do all of my work in short bursts, which creates a hell of a lot of free time for me because I do all my work in bursts, which means I have no friends and all alone time. Anyways.
Oh my god.
Back on topic.
This is why I'm telling him to get a job.
Right? I know. I agree with her, too.
That's the problem. He agrees with me. I can't make him do it.
But she has homework, too. But she, in this one, I guess it was just mainly October, right?
Yes.
Where she would spend, like, 3-4 hours on it, seemingly.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking, do you actually have that much work? And I feel like, just from my point of view, it was half, yes, you did have that much work, and it was half you, like, procrastinating or just slowing down on it because there was a lot of it.
Oh yeah, no. So this is what led to me coming up with some different solutions for it, but half of it was because I actually did have that amount of work, yes, but the other half was I was procrastinating and like trying to put it off, or not even trying to put it off, because it's not like me actively being like, I'll just do this later tonight and then stopping. It's me being like, I'll do it, but in reality, I'm actually just looking on my phone and I'm being like, I'll do it, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm on my phone again. So, and I think that all came from the level of stress that was being put. And mainly all that stress was coming from having lots of schoolwork, studying for the ACT, and because I retook it.
That's 7.
And
that's 7. Because I forgot about the ACT things as well.
Oh yeah, and college applications, like with the essay and stuff, all at the same time.
Okay, so that's 8. Is that 8?
Stop counting. No.
I want to count because when this was happening.
So stressful.
No, I want to count it because when this happened, I told you to list them out because I wanted you to make sure that when you got into college, which is your next step, you have a lot more control over the amount of things.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have 8.
Listen. Anyway, but I had all that at once, and it's kind of one of those situations where when you have that much work at once, you kind of just look at it and you're like, that's too much. And your brain is like, how am I ever going to do it? And then you get anxiety because you're like, I'm never going to finish it. And then that makes you not be able to work. And it's like a self-fulfilling cycle. So I think that's most of what that month was, because just simply because I had all of those things coming up at once. And I had no way of alleviating the work really, other than letting my grades fail, which they didn't fail, but they weren't that quarter, this past quarter.
They weren't up to your standards.
They aren't up to my standards, no.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about like coping with it, and I think I'm feeling a lot better about it than I was a couple weeks ago, but it's definitely I want to do better this quarter if I can.
No, definitely. Now, the thing is, you can handle like 5 well.
Oh yeah.
Perfectly fine.
I can handle I can handle upwards of like 6, but it's just when it like because with all the little clubs, those don't take up much of my time. You know, they're only like one weekly meeting, and then every once in a while we'll do an event. So it really doesn't take up that much time.
I guess I wasn't really counting those in my head. But,
yeah, no, it's okay, but it doesn't really take up that much time. Those little clubs. It's when it's the little clubs and extra big things.
And guys, this is actually like kind of leading into a topic that I kind of want to talk about in the future with you. Just off the top of my head. But that whole thing kind of leads to the biggest struggle that I struggle with in my life, which is loneliness and not having events in my life.
Yes.
And I would like to talk about that in the future.
Yeah.
Because that is the main thing that I struggle with. And you can tell if that's my problem and you see the person I'm dating, then it's like, wow, got contrast? So,
opposites attract much? No.
Just a little.
Oh my god.
But here's the thing. You can handle a lot, and you are a workaholic.
Oh,
but, yeah. Because I think you even get, like, if you have, like, a ton of free time, like a whole, like, a lot of free time, do you get, like, uncomfortable by it? Like,
yes.
oh, I should be doing... Yeah, okay, yeah.
I call it... The analogy I've said to most people is that, like, most people, when they're at work, they're thinking, man, I could be, you know, at home spending this time, like, sleeping. Or,
vice versa.
Doing things like that. I'm the opposite. I'm at home with, like, when I have, like, a fair amount of free time, I enjoy it. Like, I'm not insane. I'm not, like, absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But when I have a lot of
She's just a little crazy, guys.
Oh, my gosh. When I have a lot of free time, I'm thinking... I'm the opposite of those people. I'm thinking I could be at work right now. I could be making money. I could be, you know...
Because there's something to be gained if you're not just having an abundance of free time. Yes.
Exactly. And I think the best example of that is I kind of went a little crazy last summer. Last summer was busy at the beginning because I went on 2 vacations. Not 2 vacations, but I had a vacation and then I had him come into town for 2 weeks. Almost back to back, which was, you know, obviously when he's here, when he's here, I like let go of everything. And I don't really do anything when he's here, which is I'm perfectly fine with. Like we just relax and, you know, spend time doing just random things that don't progress towards anything. And I'm perfectly happy with that. Like taking 2 weeks and just like letting it go. So, but...
I'm so happy for that, too.
Yeah, but after that, I really, really knew I would have a lot of free time, and I didn't want to get into that, that, like, work... I call it worker's anxiety, where I get anxious from not being productive. So if I'm not doing something productive, I really get mad at myself and I'm like, wow, I'm not doing anything right now. Like this feels stupid. I'm not doing anything. And it's not even other people telling me that. Like other people will let me relax if I want to, but it's my own brain that does that. So I just was like, you know what? I'm going to get 2 jobs. So I had 2 jobs for most of the summer, and I visited him at the end of June going into... Or no, at the end of July going into August, yeah. So...
And then literally 2 days after and then literally the second you came home, you immediately went on another trip.
Yeah, oh yeah, I did. I went to Key West, Florida. Yeah, so... so I pretty much was just like... Literally just like... I slammed the work in there. And I think I did pretty well. The only thing that was stressful about that was trying to like balance the 2 work schedules, because sometimes they would have conflicting like days that I would be working, and that was annoying. But otherwise, I think I was able to manage it pretty well, and it was nice. I made a lot of money. So when like during the summer when that happens, I can handle that no problem. It's just when school on top of homework, on top of work, on top of college apps, on top of like ACT, and like 8 other things. That's
I literally,
when it's
like,
too much.
I literally just told her, and I was like really stern about this. I literally just told her that is inhumane.
Yeah.
Because that shouldn't be done. Now, here's the thing.
It's burnout, essentially what it was. I was getting burned out really badly.
It's inhumane to set yourself up for that with no outside pressure.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Objectively, that mindset of, like, getting 2 jobs, so going into, like, all those things at once, objectively, that is a better mindset because you have more to gain. Yes. Objectively, the worker's anxiety mindset is a better mindset than, oh, why am I working when I could be lazing around at home? Yeah. Ideally, the vice versa is better. But you account for the fact that you have a capacity for how much you can handle. You take in the fact that you have, like, wow, I got angry for like a split second. I said,
I know, I heard
for
that.
a
I was like,
split
whoa,
second, I got angry.
What's going on?
It's just like, you know, like, and this is this is coming from a person who procrastinates a lot. This is coming from a person who's been told to get a job for months. Am I the best person to hear this from? Maybe not, but I think so, because I really understand what it's like to just have your mind in check from the amount of work you have. Like, what is the capacity that you can handle? Is the point, right?
You give yourself like a somewhat not small capacity, but you understand your capacity well. You don't believe that human potential is just like unleashed, like unlimited.
If it was, I mean, like, you know, yeah. So the thing about that is, I mean, yeah, that's why I start doing my homework at 9 o'clock on due day, not 11:59. No.
Woo! Get it in on time.
But yeah, I wanted to go back to one of the first things that we talked about. Do you remember when I was saying that there's 2 major differences between you and me? One of us was like the differences in like how we, in like our families and like our upbringings,
our lifestyles. Yes.
Yeah. The other difference between us that I initially mentioned was the fact that you will prioritize more abstract, less concrete, less physical things. You'll prioritize those over more physical things. Yeah. Now, and it's more of just things. I can't think of really good examples right now, but it's stuff like, oh, you could be doing this work, or you could be talking to a certain someone, but instead you'll you'll take a bath, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Or instead you'll play on or you'll play music for a while, or you'll write something for a while, right?
Yeah.
Now, yes, do I do these things too? Yes, but in my mind, I don't have the level of self-care as you do. Because the reason I initially brought that up was because of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. I don't have intrinsic motivation. I am motivated a lot by things that I know have a clear reward. Like, I clearly need to do this because I know that this gets me somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if someone tells me, oh, you can do this, I will occasionally challenge it. Like, yeah, I could do that. And it's good, but is it worth it good? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas you, on the other hand, you will definitely know to care for yourself. Like, right now, I am literally dedicating myself to not get fast food, to not buy anything if I'm hungry. I had an hour and a half of no classes today, and all of my friends were nowhere to be found. So I was in my car. I was thinking I could drive somewhere. I could get fast food. There's even a Chick-fil-A inside my school that I can get food at. Should I do any of that? No. I don't want to use gas money. Don't want to use food money. With the clear reason being plane tickets.
Yeah.
But I think you would handle that differently. Because you know when to give yourself a reward. You know when you deserve that. You know how to... You do get what I mean by that?
Yeah, we just have different priorities on, like, what we want our, like, risk-reward to be type thing, where, like... For me, like, the opposite is that I will go, like, if I have the option to, I will go out for lunch, because I'm a high school senior.
Oh, the lunch thing, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very similar situation, so...
Can I bring up the lunch thing, actually? Because that's actually a really good example.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So Yusuf is a college freshman, and I am a high school senior, so...
I'm a pedo.
No, you're not. Okay, we're literally like 5 months apart. We are not. Anyway, if you want to say that, but it's not good.
I actually kind of do because it kind of gets people going like, what?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Anyways.
So, I'll literally be 18 in like 2 months. It's fine. So, so obviously like you said, you have time to go out to lunch or go get food if you want to in between classes. And I, on the other hand, I have time to go out for lunch. Seniors at my school get to go off campus for lunch if we want to, so we can drive off. We obviously just have to be back in time. We only get a half-hour lunch, so it's a somewhat small window. But yes, we can go out for lunch and go get food. So, and for me, I almost always go out, like every single day. I'll go out, even if I'm not actually buying anything, I will still go out, whether that's I hitch a ride with a friend or I go in my own car. Recently, I've been riding a lot with a friend because I don't have a family member of mine is borrowing my car right now, but and they need it during the school day. But I will still hitch a ride with a friend at any point if I can, and Yusuf and I had this conversation about where he was like, why would you want to go out and, waste money and waste gas money and waste food? And I was like, well, and waste money on food, basically just wasting money, essentially, when you could just stay at school and just hang out there and it's not a big deal. And I was like,
and you could bring your own food or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And save money. And I was like, well, and this is the funny part, is usually I'm the one who wants to save money, right? But in this case, I was like, well, the thing is being on campus is somewhat stressful for me. I have it's not social anxiety. I just get a bit anxious when I'm in school, and it has to do a lot with like peer pressure and being afraid of judgment and things like that. So it's been staved off more and more as I've gotten older. I've gotten better at coping with it and just being like, I'm just going to live my life and do my things. But it's still stressful to be in school when I don't have to. And for me, if I have the option to go off campus and not be at campus for lunch, then I will pick it, because I love that break of just being able to leave the school for a little bit and just go off on my own and go get some food and just hang out by myself or hang out with a friend and, just spend time not having to think about school for a little bit. I will definitely do it because it saves me a lot of stress and it gives me a lot more peace of mind.
That example that she just said, what is probably the best way to portray the big difference between us, which is I save for very more concrete reasons. I was saving money because I wanted to, and I know this is a little off topic from procrastination, but I want to shed light on differences of lifestyle, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm saving money for concrete reasons. I'm saving gas money and food money because plane ticket costs. Mm-hmm. But you were saving money, you were using money for gas, for Starbucks, for back, and I was even saying like Starbucks is more expensive than other places, because at first it was because you didn't want to like sit alone because like social anxiety and all that, and I was kind of giving you crap for that, and I was like, that's not there's a lot of ways around that, and blah 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 blah, you can deal with it, there's this that you can do, you can sit here, you can sit there, and plus it's not worth it when you're going out and you're doing all this just for your own like idealistic like view of how today can go. Just you'll use the money just to gratify like your just perfect idealistic way, right? Yeah. And I've even given her this for college too. Like I tell her like, please go for what would objectively be a better college for your taste, and not what would be the ideal glorified fantasy fairy tale. Oh, this would be perfect and I'll use as much money as it takes for it, right? Yeah. But therein lies the difference between us. She is more inclined to spend money or anything, or spend a lot of time. Mm-hmm. Right now it's more about time than money on just self gratification.
Yes. But not not in a way of like unhealthy self gratification. It's more it does tie into my work ethic in that
no, it's not unhealthy at all.
Yeah, I know that if I do certain things to like relax myself and, you know, like take a bath, I'll feel refreshed and I'll feel more motivated to work harder. So I think that ties into it a little bit.
Yeah, whereas me, like when I hear you like say like you're spending all this time when you could be doing work, instead you're like taking a bath or you're like reading or writing or playing music or something else
Playing
very
my
abstract, I'm
guitar.
like, are you sure that's like worth the time spent? But I understand the lunch thing, and I understand, and it's something that I will not be able to like adopt, but it's something that I can understand as someone who has a very different mindset than me.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, definitely.
I'm well aware that that was off topic from the procrastination thing, but I figured what.
It's it's not
Yeah.
really off topic in my opinion because it ties into like the lifestyle differences and how
Yeah.
that relates. Because
Yeah.
procrastination is essentially just it all relates to workflow, and that's essentially what we were talking
Yeah.
about.
And I did want to get back to the self gratification thing that you had going because
Hmm.
I realized that that's a big reason of differences on why we do things. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you working two jobs,
Mhm.
right? You will work two jobs because you feel accomplished by it, right?
Yes, yeah, I
You feel
do.
accomplished. You like the yeah.
I
For
enjoy
me,
the that's the type of gratification I enjoy is feeling as if I've worked hard and then being like I can relax now after just spending time doing hard work. You know what
right.
I mean? Yeah.
Now, and it's different for me because I will work one job not for self gratification, but because of the money. You
Yeah.
know, is that bad? I wouldn't say so. Would you?
Not per se. I think it's bad in that like you it's not extrinsic motivate or it's not intrinsic motivation because this is another off topic thing kind of. But I did a presentation in my freshman year on happiness, and it was one of the most like my favorite school projects that I've ever done because I learned a lot about how like about the psychology behind being happy and how the world works with these things. But one of the big points that I learned was that intrinsic motivation is significantly more like more fostering to happiness than extrinsic. So if you're more motivated to go to work because I like going to work or I like my job or I enjoy going to work and feeling like I've achieved something today, then that's much more conducive to happiness than going to
Yes.
work because I gotta meet my schedule or I have to meet this deadline.
Or even like going to work because I get money in the end. You know?
Exactly, just
Like
for money.
that's a
Money
pretty
is
like
not
that's
money
something
does
to
not
be
foster
happy.
happiness.
Yeah, it's something to be happy about. But I understand
Yeah.
that. Now, you having been with me for this long, you understand that like I will do things for, much more concrete reasons.
Oh yes, yes,
But
yeah.
and obviously this has come up so many times, the fact that I don't have a lot of self, I guess, satisfaction in a sense, in a way. But see, guys, here's the thing, and I think it's kind of funny that I'm going to end off on this note since we've reached an hour. But I'll end off on this note. It's interesting how I may be in this state where it's like, oh, I don't have intrinsic motivation. Oh, I don't have the thing that leads to no procrastination. Is that really the note you're going to end on in this? Well, what I have is a person who gives me self satisfaction. I have a person who constantly motivates me to be intrinsically motivated to do things. I have a person who, upon just being around her vicinity, will just fuel my engines to just do a massive burst of really good work. I have a person who, just being in her vicinity, at bad times I will get envious, and at good times I will be motivated and really optimistic about the future. And because I know I'm going in the right direction, and it's because of a person, and I wonder who that is. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say, guys. That was a big one. Is there anything you have to say?
Not that I can think of. I think it's yeah. I mean,
All right.
I think we help each other's, we cover each other's weaknesses essentially, and that's,
Yeah.
I don't think being a workaholic is everything. I think as much as like we don't discuss it very often, you've taught me a lot. You've taught me as much as I have taught you. maybe not in like the idealized modern sense of like, you know, everyone in the modern world is like work, 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 and you know, that's all people seem to care about. But you've taught me a lot in the ways that society may look over that, you know, you have to relax and you have to take care of yourself and you have to just let go a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, and we've managed to find this interesting common ground. I know the term opposites attract is kind of something that you just, it's in one ear out the other, but
it's
after
not
talking
wrong.
about but after talking about it about an hour, for about an hour, I think you guys can understand.
Yeah. Yep.
We have helped each other reach common ground when it comes to work ethic, when it comes
Oh, yeah.
to, and I hope hearing about this topic from two people of almost polar opposites when it comes down to this topic, I hope that we shed some light on it for you guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much all I had to say.
Wah, wah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm really excited for this. This is like one of the biggest topics that is like prevalent in my life, especially now, and in hers too, as we said in the beginning, considering the time. It's winter. There's a lot of application stuff going on. I'm going to take my my ACT in about less than a month, and I've applied to all these colleges that I'm excited to go to, and I'm making all these good plans. And your eyes are really big right now, and it's kind of cute. Okay. Alright. So guys, with all that in mind, thank you guys so much for listening to an hour's worth about procrastination, because I know this is a topic that is very prevalent amongst not only us, but also the viewers of this podcast. Hope we shed some light. And yeah, that's pretty much all we have to say. So stay tuned for next month. And in the meantime, between now and next month, new live play. It's going to be real fun. Hope you guys enjoyed already. I would love to bring her on for more of these. Alright. I'll see you guys later. Bye!